Yes, with the A-League only 1 week away, can you believe it, the longest off-season in the world of sport. It's always good to check in with one of the veterans, you like, and an inspirational captain of Perth Glory. It's great to have Jacob Burns on the show. Jacob, welcome to the show.
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, very well. It's Rodrigo Rodriguez. We've got Warren Diego and Carlos Alberto Diego. Now, as I mentioned, we're only a week away. This is the standard question. Have you had a good pre-season?
Yes, it's been a long one, as you mentioned, but a very good one. We've been fortunate enough to do a bit of travelling in our time and play some good competition, and that's always good when you've got new players coming in for bonding and obviously working on all the aspects of our game.
Now, Jacob, it's Carlos. Now, for us, you look like a 23-year-old when you're on the field. You're running around. There's no difference in the amount of pace, and the hair's looking great still, mate. But you are we looked at the Wikipedia. You're 35 years old, unbelievably, and this would have been probably your 20th or your 25th pre-season. Are you still enjoying your pre-seasons like you used to?
I'm getting a few more grey hairs, if that answers the question.
Welcome to the club.
No, look, it's been a very good pre-season. It's always nice to get away. I think you mentioned before the long off season. It tends to break it up when you get kind of a couple of trips away. We were in South Africa this year again, and Malaysia, so that always helps it go a bit quicker. And look, I'm thoroughly enjoying my football. Obviously, as you kindly mentioned, I'm 35, but I don't normally say that to my fellow mates. They're under the impression I'm Benjamin Button and going backwards in age.
Well, but you are a bloke who's been around the traps for a long time. Do they look after you at all? I mean, it is a long pre-season. Generally, 35-year-olds, the coach will say, look, don't worry about turning up for the first 4 or 5 weeks because it's a 3-month pre-season anyway. Do you do every session? Are you still at that stage, or do you have a bit of a break and start a bit later?
Oh, look, I'm managed pretty well. I think I'm very fortunate in both having Alistair Edwards and Gareth Naven, who are ex-players and obviously know how the body can be feeling at certain ages and when you're going through big games or a lot of games over a short period of time. I've always been one of them, though, that likes to be out there. I hate missing any kind of session or any game. So sometimes it's always easier if you've got a coach holding you back sometimes and kind of making you see the kind of bigger picture. And also in helping you play longer in your career. I think that you're seeing that more and more on the world stage where players are managed well, are looked after. I look at your Ryan Giggs and these types of players, and in their late 30s, still playing very well, and that comes down to obviously the man management side of it and really looking after them in between games.
Now, Jacob, Warren Diego here. I'm just wondering, we've been starting to get into the flow of reading about the pre-season and all the results, and there's clubs defending bad results during the pre-season, and there's some clubs trying to quell enthusiasm on the back of good results. I want to know from a player's point of view, you play these pre-season games and you're playing against A-League opposition. Do you guys care about the result at all? And from your point of view, as a player that plays in these games, can you read anything into the results that we see in these pre-season games that you're playing against A-League opposition?
Well, I mean, that's a difficult question, I think. Obviously, every team wants to win every game, but often early days in the pre-season, it's often, your performance over the result. But surely when you're getting towards the business end, teams are fielding, you'd like to think they're strongest teams and are getting towards, obviously the kickoff of the season. So, and in saying that, I think it does, although, you're not playing for points there, it's getting close and you are sending certain messages home with your results. In saying that, I've been in teams before where you've won every preseason game and thinking that you're on top of the world, and you go in and you start the season and you can't win a game. So, and vice versa there. But, I think especially when you've got new players coming in, the more and more games that you can play and the better performances you're turning over breeds confidence. And if you can take that confidence into opening few rounds, and you can really set yourself up.
Now, talking about you guys and confidence, you've made the finals in the last 2 seasons, the grand final 2 seasons ago, off the back of stirring finishes to the back end of seasons where you've put lots of wins together. Obviously, you guys want to get off to a good start, but in real honesty, you should and have to get off to a good start based on the fact that you've left yourselves so much work to do in the back end of seasons. Is that something that you talk about, or is it just something that you guys know that you've got to improve the way that you start the first 10 or so games of the season?
Look, I think that we're always, history will show that we've always been pretty strong at home. Likewise, travelling, it's often, very difficult to travel across and get results. So that's something we're very mindful of, obviously trying to pick up results away from home. But, there's a lot of things that can go into it. There's so many variables and, players getting injured and things that can unbalance your results. We tend to take each game as it comes. We study each opposition that we're coming up against and adjust accordingly. And we don't really, view it as, we go away and we try to put on a good performance and get the result. We're not thinking too far ahead down the track that, well, look, come the end, we're going to have to win all our games to get into the finals. I think that it's a very different approach, a very structured approach this season, a very balanced approach, and we'll still take every game as it comes.
Here in the Four Diegos, we're speaking with Perth Glory captain Jacob Burns. Now, Jacob, it's pre-season. Everyone looks good on the track. Even the Diegos would look good on a track pre-season because no one comes near us, and we still wear our shin pads. But hey, who's looking good on the track, and who excites you this year? That our listeners won't know about, but who really excites you at Perth Glory at this early stage?
Well, look, there's probably too many to mention, to be honest. We've had a lot of young guys come through. Obviously, with Alistair being heavily involved with the young Socceroos and really having his finger on the pulse of young talent coming through and attracting them here. I'd have to say of late, Jamie McLaren, who was on Blackburn's books, that has just come back and has been playing in a number 9 role for us. I think he scored 6 in the last 5 games, so he's definitely one to watch. He's a young lad, plenty of confidence, very sharp, very good in the box. So he stood out, and particularly of late, we've got a new Brazilian winger Sydney Morales, who is quite electric, and he scored in the last game in our 3-0 win over Sydney. So he's definitely one to watch. We've retained Rio Nagai, who a lot of people remember from last year, who's a fan's favourite here, and technically is probably one of the best wingers I've come across in a long time. And the likes of Denny De Silva and these players coming in, and Ryan Edwards, they've all been really good. We have a really good balance at the minute with probably the best experienced players mixed in with a lot of the best up-and-coming talent. And it seems to be working at the minute. But like I said, although the performance has been good in a lot of our pre-season games, we're not going to get ahead of ourselves and think that it's just going to be a given when you start the season. We're going to remain very focused and try to get off to a good start.
Now, Jacob, the